Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Underrail Expedition. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you're supposed to join me today, because I found out the zoom feature. Look at this, we can see things. It transforms the game. I knew these graphics existed, but it really does transform the game to be able to see things in a more pixelated way. Not because pixelated makes it better, even though it does, but rather because you can see all the details of all the art style and all that. It's really cool. And we are here talking with the council. Who's that person, by the way? This is Vera, this is Old Jonas, and Old Jonas is calling names to everybody around here. Maybe it's because of that thing you saw in his room, Carrie. We're talking about Tanner. Tanner is apparently a vampire. Tanner barely aged. You people might not have noticed it as much, but I did. I felt the same as Vera, and as every single soul in this station, and for a good reason. Tanner was clearly hiding something from us, and a peek into his room, as revealing as it is, poses more questions than answers. He shrugs. I don't know, but at least we can now openly discuss Tanner. Oh, it's Ezra, of course. I do not disagree with anything said here. Our opinions do not differ. However, we now need to focus on the reason, or reasons, for his disappearance and how that will affect Southgate Station. And Carrie, I feel, has more things to reveal to us about him. Carrie, you performed quite a few tasks for Tanner recently. I did, Vera. Ever since she got here, Tanner's been sending her around, says Ezra. Do you know anything else you feel we should know? Asks Vera. Now's the time to talk, Carrie. Tell us what you know. Well, I don't know anything. Even you guys saying that Tanner's not a human. That's mostly like Six treated it as if it was obvious, and none of this is obvious. And in fact, I'm pretty sure there's no reason for me to believe that Tanner is not human. Six, I don't know if Six is human or not. He says a being of great power. Nobody says being. Who says being? I am a being of great power. What are you, Son Goku or something? What? Anyway, the tasks Tanner gave me were all somehow connected to the mysterious object that was stolen from the Faceless, causing them to invade Core City and the rest of South Underrail. I've learned that the object is a powerful object, and Tanner wanted it for himself. All this has led me all the way to deep caverns, where I've seen it finally get returned to the Faceless, even though I didn't, because it's been a mess, but still. Are you trying to say Tanner was the one responsible for the invasion? No, I'm not trying to say anything. And also, the Faceless were the ones responsible. They were the ones that invaded. This story gets... Oh, it's Old Jonas. This story gets better and better. But what the heck is this object you're talking about? It is a big vibrator. That's very powerful. No, I don't know what it is, actually. Do we know what it is? I don't know what it does, my character says, but I have seen it. It is a polyhedron made of some unknown material. It had strange markings and what appeared to be sockets of some kind. Yeah, everything literally can be described like that. Apart from smooth spheres cannot be described, but made of known objects or known materials. Incredible. Tanner must have needed that device so badly he was willing to risk an all-out war with the Faceless. There is, however, the question of how he was able to steal it from the Faceless in the first place. No, there isn't. We don't know that it was... No, we do actually, yes. We do know the Faceless were looking for something that was stolen from them. But that was just a very minor point earlier in the game. But it is important to remember. Someone must have done it for him, but how the whole theft was accomplished, I don't know. In any case, you mentioned you went all the way down to the deep caverns. Tell us how it happened. Oh, yeah, the object somehow ended up in Cortex Research Facility, from which it was stolen by Chortists. And after infiltrating their institute, the Faceless attacked, but the object had already been sent down into the deep caverns, so I had no option but to follow it. Better and better. Would you say that? Would you stop that, Jonas? I don't... What, talking? Yes, hopefully he will. But also, I don't know what that's about. What did he do? Well, anyway, Ezra says, It seems like everyone wanted this object, including the enigmatic Institute, capital I. Why did Shortest send it to the deep caverns? What do they have there? Well, they have Chort. What? What is Chort? It's one ugly creature. One giant, disgusting, mutated mass of flesh with slimy tentacles sprouting from it. Everyone is silent, exchanging stares. And old Jonas doesn't say anything. I killed it and returned the object to the Faceless. You got a real pair of mighty boulders between your legs. I mean figuratively, sweetheart. Oh, you shut up. You don't know what's between my legs. Fascinating, says Ezra. You have seen amazing things in such a period of time, and you lived to tell the tale. But this tale presents more questions than answers, and we still don't know who Tanner truly is. We do. It's Tanner. But we just don't know who he was before arriving here to the SGS, or maybe what he is. He's actually talking about what he was going to do with the Faceless device and where he is now. Well, there's a thing or two I've learned that might shed some light on who Tanner really is. Do tell us, Carrie. Yeah, I've met this humanoid creature that calls itself Ramrumbra. I don't know if that's not what it calls itself. Is it? I thought it was 6. Either way, we've met even before the deep caverns. Yes, I believe. And it seems we were both involved in all these important events regarding the Faceless object. Can you describe it? He is lean, tall, and about as tall as Tanner, and has a prosthetic arm and a leg. So, that's not a good description. He has 2 legs. One of them is prosthetic, and he has 2 arms, and again, one of them is prosthetic. That's very important to note because you'd think that he had 3 legs and 3 arms. But either way, he wears a metallic-looking mask, and instead of eyes, he has 4 lenses. Did you know that our eyes have lenses? They are also called lenses. They're just part of the inner there's a name for it? There's names for all the bits in our eyes. Anyway, one other striking feature is that he has 6 digits on each of his hands. And that's why they call him 12. As tall as Tanner, and a mask, says Vera. Yeah, he's a powerful individual, even capable of things like instant teleportation. That sounds like a... I mean, if I had a teleporter, I would be capable of instant teleportation as well. The technology he wields is far more advanced than anything we've ever seen. Yeah, go on. He and Tanner seem to be of the same species, and from what I understood, 6 wants to assassinate him, and Six seems to be trying to find him, the Tanner, I believe, for a long time. To have been trying to find Tanner for a long time. Now that 6, I believe, has finally discovered Tanner? Yes, Tanner slipped away and fled to the north Underrail. So, what you're trying to say... Nope, not trying to say anything. Just saying the things that I want to say. Anyway, what you're saying is that Tanner has been posing as a human in order to hide from whatever the hell it is assassin, and now bolted as soon as this whatever the hell it is assassin sniffed him out. Everything makes sense now. The faceless object, Tanner's appearance, that stasis cell in his room, his departure. We still don't know what he was going to do with that gizmo, but I can bet the 5 hair... The 5th hair on my head. That would be funnier than just saying the 5 hairs. It's the 5th hair. It's funny. And I can bet the 5th hair on my head that it's related to him not wanting to get zapped by his fellow kinsman. Gentlemen, I think a long meeting is ahead of us, says Vera. Thank you for everything, Carrie. The rest of us have a long discussion ahead. You, on the other hand, might want to get some rest. Some good rest. You've done more than enough. Afterward, you should come to my office. Okay. I really should go to North Underrail. But here we are. Oof, the game controls very different in this mode. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I rested or not. But we're going back to admin. And yeah, the game in this resolution feels a lot better at lower speeds than the fast speed. I wonder if it was always designed to be like this, to be played at 720p or something like that. That's why I didn't have a increased speed button for the original version of the game. But then again, for the original version of the game, we didn't have a zoom button either. Vera. While there are still signs of concern intertwined into her expression, you noticed that's intertwined with always, not with into. You notice more confidence and resolution in her stance and speech. Did you rest well, Carrie? She asks. Yes, I did. She nods. Do you know why I wanted to speak with you? No. I wanted to offer something to you. How would you like to become one of the Southgate Station counselors? Why me? Southgate Station, or South Underrail rather, hasn't been this turbulent ever since the breakup of Biocorp. Earthquake, faceless invasion, United Stations integrating and increasing conflicts between Underrail Protectorate and the Free Drones, to mention but a few. After you left, the council discussed you and your recent first-hand experiences throughout South Underrail. We feel that we feel what you know would be of great use to our station. That is why we offer you this position, and it is something upon which we all agreed. You don't have to answer right away. Think about it. You will most likely take over some of Tanner's duties, some of the ones you could manage at first, and then, well, we'll get into the details and specifics after you give me a positive answer. Do you want to become a counselor, Carrie? Oh. What benefits does a counselor get? You will be able to directly influence the future of Southgate Station. Right now, we all live in similar living conditions, so do not expect a significant improvement in that regard. However, you will receive a better pay. You say it as if I receive a pay at all. I don't. Respect both in... what? Respect both in... whatever. Respect inside and outside of Southgate Station, and more. Okay, I'll have to think about it. Certainly, there is no pressure on you. We simply feel you would be a valuable contribution to the council. I will be here once you've made your decision. I understand. I had some questions to ask you. Certainly, Carrie. Are there plans for SGS to join the United Stations at some point? Oh, she goes back to that. Interesting. So that was never answered. Okay, so we're going to North Underrail. Actually, I'm going to quick save over here because I don't know if we can go to North Underrail. So let's go to Lower Underrail. It says it's North Underrail? It was the Hexagon. What is the Hexagon? Hecate Research Station. The Foundry. Travel by metro. We have the Foundry entrance over there. So this is Lower Underrail. And then we have Upper Underrail. Got some merchants over there. Panacea Lab. I wonder if the Foundry actually exists. It doesn't seem like it does. Let me look into it. Sorry, not Foundry. The Hexagon. The Foundry exists, obviously. We've done that. But the Hexagon, yeah. Actually, that area doesn't seem to exist in the game. I had to look it up on the wiki, and there's a stub article, a stub article in the official wiki, and it says that it's to the north. It's a big city. It's the second biggest city, apparently, and there's a lot of bad people in there as well. Vera? Yes, how can I help you, Carrie? I accept. I want to become a Southgate Station counselor. Vera smiles. I'm pleased to hear that. We both know that is the right decision. Another smile escapes her. Well, sure. It's not a sigh that escapes her. It's a smile that shows up on her face, lasting for a brief moment. She says, I'm sure you'll do excellent work. No, I hope so too. What happens? Now, you begin. After the scrappers were defeated by combined forces of Black Eels and Southgate Station, the political landscape of the very south of Underrail changed significantly. I don't know if this auto-proceeds. It does. SGS no longer had to fear that Protectorate would take control of their trading partners in Junkyard, forcing them to deal with them instead. On the other hand, Eels ensured that whatever the town's future may be, it will have to include them. The Eels ensured. With piracy being decisively suppressed, the waterways become much safer for trading, which helps the town's economy and helps ensure its survival in the foreseeable future. And that was about Junktown, I believe. Junkertown? And Junkyard. With both borrowers and the Rat Hound King out of the way, Hathorians extended their hunting grounds and grew their community. That's Hathor Camp. And also the Hathorians extended their... They did good. Though you took care of their faceless problem, rail crossing's troubles had only just begun. That's the one. Since they lost too many people during the faceless attack, they had to seek help from the Protectorate. The train carrying the armaments, ammo, and general supplies eventually arrived safely due to your help. So far, everything seems to be going really well for the things I did. This allowed them to survive multiple attacks mounted by the Ironhead clans of the surrounding tunnels. They smelled weakness, but they were also weakened themselves. I assume the Ironhead clans were weakened. I think I killed them all, but sure. The absence of Balor and their clan was quickly felt, and the Ironheads found that they were unable to penetrate the rail crossing's defenses. The raids thus ceased after a few more demoralizing defeats. Peace and quiet at last, or at least by South Underrail standards, finally returned to this weary station. But after being so close to eradication, rail crossing was faced with an important decision. The game is gonna tell us what the decision is. To keep their independence and rely on themselves, and the help of other stations for security, or to integrate into the United Stations and benefit from its protection. The decision has yet to be made. Oh, look at the foundry. With the beast dead, the foundry was able to resume its production. Though economically prosperous and safe from outside threats, the city continued to suffer the same health hazards. Or to be the same hazard, health-wise. Life in Core City went on as before. Caged by the city's high concrete walls and mesmerized by violent entertainment, workers, merchants, bandits, zoners, all of them struggled onward, while the oligarchs played their shadowy games. Yeah, we never really dealt with the oligarchs all that much, which makes some sense, because I'm just a nobody. People still flocked in great numbers to watch the arena, their thirst for blood never quite satisfied. The legend of Hellfire, a mysterious gladiator who came from nowhere and quickly rose to the title of Invictus, would live for years to come. That was my name, wasn't it? Hellfire. Sort of forgot about that. Though they suffered a setback through the destruction of Epion Lab, all major Protectorate's bases in the south, from which they plotted and launched their offensives, both diplomatic and military, still stood. All the bases did. They ambition to take control of all the South Underrail still burned strong, or their ambition still burned strong. To ambition is not a verb. And with the free drones out of the way, their operatives had a much easier time infiltrating and operating inside the still independent communities of the region. The grisly fate of the free drones haunted your nightmares until the day you died. No, it didn't. I was very happy. Every night I dreamt of their fate, I was like, oh yes, I'm such a scumbag. Once the Protectorate soldiers managed to crack the heavy gate and enter the Institute of Chort, they found no one alive among the carnage. All the bodies of the dead faceless were gone, and all the Chortists lay where they fell. And also, none is not the correct word to use there. It's no one. It's a common mistake. I've seen people use that a lot. Instead of writing no one, they write none. Except for one. Idine's body was never found. Following Chort's death, Harmost Stavros led the remaining Rassophores out of the deep caverns. Their discarded uniforms were found in the lower Underrail, but it is unknown whether or where they went from there. Well, but it is known that they went naked, apparently, because their uniforms were left behind. What is this? Oh, the expansion. The Black Sea expedition struggled as soon as its ships sailed into all but forgotten waters. Into what? However, Aegis Incorporated defenses did not give in. Slowly but surely, the Lemurian facilities were opened one by one, providing advanced technology, knowledge, and clues towards what would be revealed to be the expedition's ultimate goal. The Acorn. Capital T, capital A. After its acquisition, it was time to leave, and all surviving personnel managed to leave the Black Sea safely and for good. And I didn't even increase their defenses, because I killed everybody else, and nobody attacked them again. Ooh! In the beginning, since the expedition's arrival, the Grim Jetters mostly kept to their own part of the sea, waiting for the right time to strike. Yeah, but I went in there and killed them all. That's what happened. It's a stealth boat. Does the game say it's a stealth boat? Because it is. However, a single wrong move resulted in their demise, Professor Oldfield's kidnapping. This led to the death of their leader, Captain Grimm, something from which these sea dogs never managed to recover. That's unfair. It wasn't because they captured the professor. It's because I killed them. The same greedy temperament that facilitated their unification now made them turn against one another. Yes, that's not properly written, but sure. The Grim Jetters fragmented into numerous small crews whose infamy was like a drop in the sea of their former glory. Oh, these ones that I killed. The Schmerkentern were defeated in combat. Their capacity to wage war now greatly diminished. Their capacity to live as well. But since there was no longer a war to wage, life became just that much more peaceful. As in, it was dead. That life was gone. No life for them. I killed everyone. The very few, very few, as in zero, who observed this post-expedition period from up-close thought on an old saying described it best, that broken bones do heal stronger. Is that how it is said? That's a very fancy, weird way of saying it. The recent events had little impact on the small Muti community, as turbulent as they were. Their existence simply continued. In other words, continued simply. The Acorn didn't remain in Professor Oldfield's possession for long, as it soon found itself in the hands of the expedition's benefactors. Its whereabouts after that remain unknown. To you, I assume, not to the people who have it. And the ferryman, who still roams about on his trusty ferry boat, scouring the depths of the Black Sea. That's a whole sentence. The game didn't actually say what happened. As for you, you decided to take Tanner's place in the SGS Council as suggested, first as an emergency appointment and later through elections. I decided to take its place through elections. I'm sure I did. Due to your history with the Protectorate, and now that Gorski was out of the way, you managed to foster a good relationship with this military organization, as well as the United Stations, which they are buddies with, I'm pretty sure. Having taken a foothold in the junkyard, or in junkyard previously, through helping the eels dispose of the scrappers, your station was in a prime position to negotiate most beneficial terms of or the most beneficial terms of integration, retaining the maximum of its independence while gaining as much influence within the alliance as possible. Eventually, you managed to rise through the hierarchy and became the Grand Ambassador, capital G, capital A, of the Far South, lowercase, having both SGS and Junkyard under your jurisdiction. Not everyone was happy with the direction SGS took. Most of Gorski's followers, and even some neutrals, plural, left the station, while Gorski himself denounced you and declared himself your enemy. I would like to have an enemy. Nobody wants to be my enemy. Having retrieved their precious artifact, the Faceless retreated back into the depths from which they came. From whence they came. That's the rare circumstance where you can use the word whence. And I think that whole thing about us going to Hexagon is sequel bait? Well, not sequel bait, but it's the setup for the sequel. So, yeah, that has been Underrail. And those are the developers right there. Fantastic game. I think the expansion strikes a very different tone from the main game, honestly. The main game, I mean, the expansion does provide a lot of exploration opportunities, but I wish there were more quests instead of just so much exploration, because there's just a lot of exploration. But also, the thing is, there's also so much writing in the expansion, but it's like all in little bits, all in very specific places, like the coming back to base to read all those extremely lengthy novels that the game gives you. I wish that writing had been dedicated into quests rather than those little side things. And I don't know. I feel the expedition was a lot of fun, but it was very lengthy, and as such, the pacing was very different from the rest of the game. And I don't know. It does feel like it feels like a different game. It doesn't feel like integrated with the rest. But then again, I don't know if it was meant to be a different game. If it was always meant to be like the sequel or something like that. Because it took a long while to come out. Underrail was one of the... I mean, I started doing YouTube in 2015, and the Underrail came out at the end of that year? Is that correct? Or was it 2016? Either way, the expansion came out last year, I think. So it's still like 4 years to develop it. It's a small team, but I don't know. It feels like maybe they had planned to make a new game and decided to just incorporate it into the original one. I don't know. I'm really glad they added the map, even though it is still fun to not use the map and just do the move around the game, just exploring without the map. I'm really glad they added the zoom, even though I only found it at the very end, because this just I can show you. We can load any save, and because I have them all here. The game does use up gigs and gigs of saves, so yeah. Let's go with this one. Where are we? Lower Underrail. Let's go ahead and do it. But yeah, it's good that they have the zoom, because the art style is really good, and it's really glad. I'm really glad that they have the speed as well, even though honestly the speed isn't really necessary if the game just made some different design decisions in regards to carry weight, specifically in regards to fast traveling. There's a lot of ways that the game could not waste your time, and the game does waste your time a little bit in regards to healing over time and all that, but there's some mechanics that rely on you waiting, you as a player rather than you as a character, and I'm not a big fan of those. Fortunately, because I'm doing a Let's Play, I can always make cuts, and so I've basically shielded you as a viewer from all those mechanics, from all the backtracking that has to be done. It's not tremendous, it's not overly prominent, so the game still shines very much in regards to the exploration. But yeah, that's been Underrail Expedition, the longest Let's Play that I've ever done. Not by a lot, but by a little bit, by like 40 episodes. But I'm very glad to have done it. I'm very glad that you have remained with me until the end, at least until the end of this episode. I don't know if you started halfway through, but that's all right. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.